This is Block 8, Pax Americana, Section 2, the beginning of the Cold War, with the section, The Birth of Israel. We're not going to get too much into this. This is you can take a class on this in its own right. But since it plays such a major role in the second half of the 20th century, it does behoove us to discuss the creation of the State of Israel and the American role in it. That starting around 1900, a wave of nationalism swept through the Jews of Europe to a degree, and many of them began moving to the Ottoman territory of Palestine. After that Ottoman territory became British-controlled after World War I, the immigration of European Jews to the Holy Land continued. And throughout the 1920s and 30s, there was significant tension with their Arab neighbors. In general, during the war, the Jews of Palestine sided with Britain, and the Arabs of Palestine and the Arabs of the world, most of them, sided with on the German side of the war. After the war and after the Holocaust had come to light, there was a lot of emotional support in the world for the creation of the Jewish state, the State of Israel, in the Middle East. And it was a situation fraught with problems because you had a mixed population. The United Nations, the new United Nations, tries to set up a partition. And the areas of yellow would be Jewish areas, and a Jewish country would come into being in that place. The areas in green would be a Palestinian territory and a Palestinian country. Egypt would get this yellow part, Syria would get that gray part, Jordan would get most of what's today the West Bank, and the city of Jerusalem would be an international city kind of ruled by the United Nations. And that was the partition plan of the United Nations. It was rejected by the Arab countries, who insisted that there be no Jewish territory at all. After the UN partition plan was rejected, the Jews of Palestine declared their independence and won a war in 1947-1948. They defeated a native Palestinian uprising and then the invasion of 5 Arab countries, Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Saudi Arabia, not Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Iraq all invaded this little tiny country of Israel, which successfully defended itself against them. In the course of the war, many of the Palestinians living in this territory fled their homes. They either fled their homes because they were encouraged to by the Arab armies, they would be in the way of the Arab armies. They fled their homes due to fear of Jewish reprisals. They fled their homes due to stories of Jewish atrocities. There's lots of reasons why individual Palestinian families fled their homes in Palestine, but they settled not back where they had lived, but they settled in refugee camps in Jordan, in Egypt, in what today is known as the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, which you see on the news all the time. Thereafter, over 1 million Jews were forced out of their homes in Arab countries, and they moved and integrated into the State of Israel itself. So what you've had set up here with this birth of Israel, which was supported by President Truman over the advice of his State Department, over the advice of his economic advisors, over the advice of his military. Truman was one of the first people to recognize the independence of the State of Israel, and it begun a close relationship between Israel and the United States that continues to this day. The three-pronged issue here between the Israelis, the Palestinians, and the Arab countries surrounding Israel is going to plague American diplomacy and military people through this day. And this is the point, not that you can't say it started here, because it started long before, but the establishment of the State of Israel is a huge milestone in the 20th century Middle East, and this is where it began.